It's been a while. Sometimes living on the West Coast isn't what it's cracked up to be. That is, when you're a NASCAR fan. When your favorite series is the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series, it takes even more waiting. And then, the day changes. You wake up and the door opens.
100 laps, 250
The
miles.
moment has finally come. The NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series.
All in the top 10.
36 masters of art and entertainment. In the land of fun and sun, fame and fortune. The place where dreams come true. Only the strong survive.
Crawford upside down coming off turn number 4.
Radham Cowboy.
Over. California truck fans, we're at the base of the rain-soaked San Bernardino Mountains for race number 2. Speed Channel's coverage of the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series pre-race show is presented by Craftsman. Meteorologists are tired of talking about rain, but the subject did come up again today about the possibility. It's slightly overcast in Southern California. A week ago in Daytona, 2 veterans battled on the final lap to determine a victor, but it wasn't that easy.
Nobody is sitting down at Daytona on their feet for the finish in this one.
Now there's trouble. Cars in the fence.
Bobby Hamilton will win the Florida Dodge Dealers 250.
I think you're exactly right. The field is automatically frozen when the caution flag comes out, and it looked like Bobby Hamilton had taken the lead.
Scoring-wise, Jimmy Spencer is just ahead of Bobby Hamilton on the scoring charts. Now we have to wait.
I did not appreciate what Bobby did to me. He turned me sideways like that, and but that's life. He was trying to win a race too.
He cut down on me. He's lucky I didn't turn him around. He's lucky he's in a Dodge.
I believe I won this race. I know that.
Bobby Hamilton just asked, can I drive it to victory lane now? Congratulations.
Like I said, it's I believe in the system. I wouldn't accuse nobody of nothing. I said, I sure hope they check that.
Guess what? You're second today, buddy.
Yeah, I know. I can't believe that. That's hard to believe.
Take another look at this. When the yellow light comes on, Bobby Hamilton is in front.
See if we can see him go on here. Bobby's definitely ahead of him. There's a yellow light coming. I'm telling you, to me, that would be irrefutable proof that Bobby Hamilton would win this race.
This is what NASCAR racing's all about, and I'm just happy to be a part of it.
Bobby Hamilton is coming off that momentum from Daytona win, but it all comes down to whether he can keep that momentum going tonight. Now, he has never won a race here, but he has plenty of experience leading laps. He'll start 18th tonight. It'll be a long night for Bobby Hamilton to make his way up to the front. Let's check in with Ray.
Well, thank you, Wendy. You know, I was looking back on the records, and I think I've done about 350 victory lane ceremonies. But last week was the first time that I ever saw a driver in his truck come into victory lane and not get to stay there. Jimmy Spencer in his Ultra Wheels truck here tonight has a good truck. Can he go to the front and win? Possibly. But guess what, folks? They found a broken oil cooler on this truck just moments ago, and they've replaced it. So once again, Gentleman Jimmy has to go to the tail of the field and try to work his way to the front.
We look at the Ford top 10 point standings from one race. Pretty much dominated by veterans, with the exception of Brad Keselowski. He's the only one under the age of 30 in the top 10. Tonight's command to start engines comes with a different twist. That's coming up next. Speed Channel's coverage of NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series pre-race show is brought to you by Craftsman, celebrating 10 years tough of the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. And welcome back to Fontana, California. Let's go pit road for a unique start to this race.
And now, with those most famous words of motorsports, here once again our Grand Marshal, driver Brendan Gaughan.
On behalf of my good friends and sponsors, American Racing Wheels, my fellow drivers, start your engines! Woo!
Brendan Gaughan, the Grand Marshal of the American Racing Wheels 200, giving the command to start your engines. Brendan Gaughan, one of the many stars in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series as we come to the land of the stars, Southern California. Welcome to the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series American Racing Wheels 200 on Speed Channel. Hello everyone, I'm Rick Allen alongside of Michael Waltrip and Phil Parsons. Breaking news in the Truck Series. Jack Sprague showed up on Wednesday on crutches because on Wednesday he actually broke his foot falling off of his roof while trying to clean the gutters. So what does that do to Jack Sprague's chances tonight?
Well, Rick, NASCAR rules dictate that whoever starts the race gets all the points. So Jack Sprague is going to tough it up. He's going to get in that truck. He's going to start the race, hope for a caution flag so he can get out and put the 2002 Craftsman Truck Series champion Mike Bliss in his truck. The earlier the better. The more time he can give Mike Bliss to catch up, work his way back to the front, the better. Michael, what's it like to run around here one-footed hurt?
Well, you know, Phil, some drivers like Richard Petty and Harry Gant, they raced everywhere using one foot, braking and gassing with the right foot. My feet are too big. I get them all mixed up with the pedals down there. I got to have both feet on the wheel, on the floorboard, and I know Jack's that same way. So he just needs to get out. He's in pain. He can't do the job he's used to doing. He doesn't feel like he can go win the race, but he thinks that truck can, and he knows Mike Bliss can get the job done behind the wheel. So he's going to turn it over to Bliss, and should be interesting to see.
Well, Michael, you just came off of the track moments ago from a cup practice. Tell us a little bit about this track with the Craftsman track description.
Well, it's 2 miles in length. The turns are definitely two distinctly different turns. You run low or high on either end. It just depends on what you want to do. There's multi-grooves at this place. A lot of speed racing down into turn one. And for me, it was just a little bit too narrow, Rick, because I bounced into the wall during my cup practice. So it could be a little bit wider off turn 4, and I'd like it better.
We're going to have 36 trucks starting this race. This is your Craftsman race analysis. The race is 100 laps, 200 miles, a purse over $600,000. Our pit window is about 40 to 45 laps. That means nobody will be able to make this race on one pit stop.
Let's take a look at the Domino's starting grid. Mike Skinner. He's claimed a pole at this track before, but it was in the Cup Series back in 2000. He'll start on the pole and just outside of Mike Skinner, David Starr in a very fast Chevrolet.
Darrell's got his 2 trucks up in row 2. He's got Rudiman and Huffman both right there near the front of the field.
There you see on the inside of row number 4, Todd Cleaver really wants to put Daytona behind him. He had such horrible luck down there. None of it his own making, but unfortunately he lost a couple trucks down there.
Bobby Hamilton will drive the 04 again tonight. That's the truck he won in last week. There's Shiggy.
Pretty impressive qualifying by the Toyota gang here again.
There's our last year's winner, Todd Bodine, in the 66 truck, starting outside row number 13.
We've seen him really rally from the back, though. He'll be good in the race. You can bet on that, Phil.
Wayne Edwards, Robert Presley getting in on time into this field. Jason Rudd and Derek Cope are the 2 truck drivers that will be going home, not being able to make the 36 truck field. We'll be riding along with a couple different drivers, one of those being Chad Chaffin. In the number 30, he'll start in the 15th position.
There's Jack Sprague. We were talking about him. Jack's out there right now in some pain, but he will try to run this truck to the first caution flag so he can get out, but he will get all the points that this truck earns tonight, because this Truck Series point battle always goes down to the last race. There's no way that he could afford not to get the points for this race. He's got to tough it out.
Mike Skinner will start on the pole, as I mentioned. By winning tonight's race in the pole position, Skinner can win $4,000 for his team. If Mike doesn't win from the pole tonight, then another $2,000 again will be added, and the purse will grow in increments of $2,000 until somebody wins this award. $50,000 available this year. There's Mike Bliss standing by.
They've practiced this driver change in the garage area. It'll go real smoothly, I guarantee it. And Bliss could very well win this race. I think it'd be really interesting to see how well he runs in this truck. He knows those guys. He's used to that team. We could see a real story with Bliss.
Michael, you're exactly right. This is the exact same team that he won the championship back in 2002 with.
And he actually has won this race. The inaugural race at California was won by Mike Bliss in 1997. Let's go down trackside to Windy.
Rick, I want to tell you about one driver that started with one truck and one engine 8 years ago, and tonight he makes his 200th consecutive start, and that driver is Rick Crawford. You see he has a special paint scheme on his truck tonight. He is the first driver to hit the 200th start mark in the Truck Series. And if you're into superstitions, Rick Crawford is in the number 14 truck. He's running chassis number 14, and he starts 14th tonight. Ray?
Well, Wendy, Michael said that it was possible that Mike Bliss could win this race tonight. I think it is very possible, but no driver has ever got in as a substitute and gone on to win. But who is the guy you should keep your eye on if it's not Mike Bliss? Well, how about the number 1 of Ted Musgrave? He's won here 3 times and finished second last fall. Musgrave is driving a truck they call chassis number 36. It was very bad last year when he raced it at Las Vegas. He said he hated the truck. So what they do, they tore the body off and put a brand new one on and went to the wind tunnel. Musgrave said he's got the truck to beat tonight. He said all the other guys here have brought a knife to a gunfight.
Pretty confident in Ted Musgrave.
Wow, I like that. Thinks he's going to win the race. There's Crawford's hood. You can see the special paint scheme. Phil, anytime I was driving truck 14 with the number 14 on the side and qualify 14, I usually finish about 14. So I'm not into all that numerology like my brother is.
Rick's looking for a little bit better than 14.
We would like to welcome our men and women in uniform serving around the world and watching tonight's race on AFN, American Forces Network. We want to thank you for all you do. We hope you're enjoying tonight's telecast wherever you're stationed. Remember, we're always standing behind you.
This is going to be some good stuff here. This track is perfect for the trucks. You're not going to see the... I bet you nobody turns over in this race, which is always a good thing to say before a race starts.
We hope nobody turns over.
Last week, how many did we have? A couple?
Yeah, I had a couple.
Randy Kaiser's taking the pace truck down pit road. Mike Skinner sets the pace. The green flag flies, and we're underway.
Most of you fans won't recognize that 75 truck on the outside. That is David Starr. The first time I think that truck has not been as traditional blue and white.
In the history of Spears Auto, I mean, as far as their association with racing, they've always been blue and white.
Well, he's got the lead right now. They may want to lead that truck black and yellow.
I got reports from the garage area that this was one of the fastest trucks in the field in practice. So he qualified up front, and it looks like he's established himself as a real contender for tonight.
Field working their way through 3 and 4. David Starr would love to take the green flag at the start-finish line to lead the first lap. He does do that. So David Starr leading the first lap, the American Racing Wheels 200.
Wow, look at Rick Crawford dive to the bottom on Johnny Benson. That was a heck of a power move into turn 1.
Great move by Rick Crawford. We saw some 3-wide racing right at the start-finish line on down in turn number 1.
Fanning out a little bit more. We talked about at Daytona the drafting that took place. You're still going to see drafting here in California, aren't you?
You will. There's a lot of drafting here. These trucks will run upwards of 180 miles an hour on the straightaway. But because this racetrack is relatively flat compared to Daytona, we will not see... Draft will not be a requirement like it is at Daytona.
Yeah, you won't have the luxury of doing what Bobby Hamilton and some of those cats did last week. You can't lay back in this race. You got to put your truck on go, and when they throw the green flag, you got to plan on driving straight to the front and staying there. That's how you're going to win this race.
How long can Jack Sprague stay in that truck with a broken heel?
Good view of Jack right there. You see from his onboard. Looks like he's going to try to make a move on the inside of the 07 of Sean Murphy. Jack's being shown right now in the 31st position. He's going for 30th. Thought better of it.
I talked with Jack earlier this week after showing up here, and he said his biggest fear is if he is involved in an accident, it could shatter his heel. Right now it's broken, but if he gets a hard hit on that, it could shatter it. And so I'm sure he's trying to be cautious, but at the same time doesn't want to back up.
What about Matt Crafton? He drove that 88 truck around the high side into second place.
We've got smoke, it looks like, coming out of one of the trucks going into
crash.
Turn 1. Problems coming out of turn number 2. Ken Weaver's involved in that, as well as the 66 of Todd Bodine, our last year's winner of this race.
Wow. Todd lost an engine in qualifying. That's why he had to go to the very back of the pack, and that's the danger of starting in the back of the pack. You're behind everything that may happen.
And so, unfortunate instance for Todd Bodine and Ken Weaver, but right now Jack Sprague is feeling very good that he's going to be able to get out of that truck and get Mike Bliss into it.
Tremendous break for Jack Sprague and Mike Bliss. Jack will be able to come down pit road, more than likely not lose a lap, be able to change drivers, and Mike will have over 90 laps left in this race to try to get back to the front.
And plus, Jack can call up the pit crew and say, this thing's a little bit loose, or it's pushing, I might need an Mike might need an adjustment, so it'll give them a chance to work on their truck, get the right guy in the truck that they think can win the race, and get it done early, like you said, Phil.
See, Jack, he's looking right now, he's adjusting his belts, he's trying to loosen the belts so when Mike gets in, he doesn't have to loosen the belts before he can buckle them.
Wow, I know he's disappointed. He won the race here. Just the last time we were here, Todd won, and now not even 10 laps in, he's out.
Let's take a look at how this took place.
Coming off turn number 2, there's the 0-8 of Ken Weaver. Looks like he just gets loose, overcorrects, and catches Todd right up against the wall. What a horrible break for Todd. He told us before the race, he said, I'm telling you, this truck is better than the one I had last year, and he won the race with it.
I think it looked like Ken Weaver may have hit another truck.
Yeah, he just got loose. And when he got loose, he slid to the inside, hit Spencer in the side. That shot him out to the right where Todd had elected to go. Todd made the right move. Ken Weaver spins out. The high side's probably the way to go, but he caught Spencer. That shot his momentum back to the outside. I think it was Spencer.
Pretty hard contact with the outside wall. Thank goodness for the safer barriers.
Oh, wow. You don't, I can't even tell you what those things mean to a race car driver.
Todd Bodine, driver of the 66, making his way to the ambulance.
Gives a wave to the crowd.
They'll take him into the infield care center. And here's a look at Jimmy Spencer's number 2. He did make contact.
Now, he tore that thing all to pieces last Friday night at Daytona and still was leading on the last lap.
Here comes Jack Sprague for the driver change.
Did Jack undo the winning net?
Ray?
Well, these guys are all ready for him down here, Rick, for sure, as Sprague has already told him that he was a little worried there because the field was so spread out. He said, are we going to have enough time? His spotter, Dave Fuchs Sr., said, don't worry about it. Just get that thing in here. He's got his belts loose already. They've also got the window net down. So the guys will go to work here on helping Sprague out. The most important thing is for him to get out gingerly. The guys go on the inside. Michael Bird is there. We also see Scott Punch. They let him out. George Stone carries him out of the truck. Now Bliss will get in. This is fairly routine. They'll have plenty of time. They'll get the belts on. Now you saw that Bliss already had his Hans device hooked to his helmet as he gets in. One guy on the inside of the truck will help him get his right side belts lapped up. They'll get that pulled across, and I don't think there'll be any problem for these guys to get this driver change done. And the belts are already secure, so no problem there. And they will put the window net up, get this thing fired up, and the number 16 Chevrolet will go back to the track. Now, as I said a little bit ago, no driver in the Craftsman Truck Series has ever won a race as a substitute. Can Bliss be the man today? He won the championship 2 years ago with this team. He knows what their trucks are like, and he practiced this truck yesterday quite a bit. The window net is going up, and they will definitely get this done without losing a lap.
NASCAR officials standing by, watching to make sure everything is buckled up and safe for Mike Bliss. Jack Sprague stepping out of the number 16 in place for Mike Bliss to take over for the rest of this race. Speed Channel presents a NASCAR show for the NASCAR masses, NASCAR Nation. Exclusively on Speed Channel Monday through Thursday, 7 p.m. Eastern and Pacific time. Declare your citizenship with NASCAR Nation. Ray?
Well, as we told you, Jack Sprague did pop out. You can see right here he has installed the boot on his heel. Over here has the crutches ready. Jack, what's your foot feel like?
It don't feel good. I mean, I've never experienced this kind of pain in my life, and to have to get out of that truck, it's pretty tough. The Chevy truck Chevrolet is awesome. Mike will do a great job in it. Just it's tough.
I'll bet. Jack Sprague out of the truck. Mike Bliss, the replacement driver.
Again, Jack Sprague out of the truck because of a broken heel he suffered on Wednesday. Welcome back to California Speedway. Tomorrow, qualifying for the NASCAR Busch Series. That starts at 1 p.m. Eastern. Watch and see how Michael Waltrip qualifies for the Busch Series.
My race car says corn dogs on the side of it. How cool is that? I always wanted a car with a corn dog sponsorship, and now State Fair's on board with me, and the car looks groovy.
That qualifying for the Stater Brothers 300. Again, 1 o'clock Eastern on Speed Channel.
You know, we saw how much damage Jimmy Spencer had to the side of his truck. Michael, he never even came to pit road.
That's when the spotter, Phil, I guarantee you, with binoculars, looked at the side of that truck and said, it's all behind the front tire. I don't think we lost any front fender off the thing. I believe it'll be fine. Jimmy's going to trust the spotter and say, okay, we'll go forward with that. Then he'll probably yell at him if it doesn't work out that way.
Well, how difficult is that? We talked about the speeds, 180 miles an hour, and you're driving around, and you're not so sure about the right side tires.
Well, you find out real quick what you got when you get to the corner, Rick. It's not about the condition of the truck as far as is it safe or not. It's all about how well it's going to handle. You know, when you get to the corner, if it sticks to the road, then you say, fine, I don't care what it looks like. And we saw him getting a wreck on pit road last week at Daytona, tore up the whole front end, still came back and almost won the race.
What a great run Matt Crafton has going in that 88 truck. Look at Ron Hornaday, looks to the inside in the number 6 Goodwrench Chevrolet.
You know, a lot of talk throughout the garage area was about the strength of the Toyotas here in California, but there's 2 Chevrolets that are just right on it. Matt Crafton is running great. And that's his old truck, Harvick's ride that Hornaday took over from him. I know it probably feels good for Matt to be mixing it up with those guys.
You mentioned Toyotas. That's 3 Chevrolets up front. We've got David Starr, Matt Crafton, and Ron Hornaday in our top 3.
There's a 24 of Wayne Edwards being shown the black flag. We saw some smoke coming out of his truck. He did make his way to pit road.
Our pole sitter, Mike Skinner, drops back to 4th in this line.
Look at that, Phil. What a competitive race. What a competitive series the trucks are. And golly, it just looks great seeing them all filtering down into turn 3.
Another good move by Rick Crawford to drive underneath Johnny Benson in the 23 Toyota. You see Ted Musgrave moving by the 17 of David Rudiman for the 5th position. Looks like they made a little bit of contact coming off turn number 4.
I think it was enough to slow Musgrave down a little bit. Rudiman shot on around the outside. There's Rick on the bottom again. He just keeps diving to the bottom of the racetrack.
I talked to Rick right before the race, and he said that he and Cowboy really have their act together now. They really think they have a great race truck for this race, and Rick's had some success at this racetrack. He had a runner-up finish back in 2001.
Rick got a little loose there. It looked like Robert Huffman might have bumped into the rear of that truck. Ray?
Well, guys, he was very hot in water temperature just a little while ago. He rode up on the bumper of Johnny Benson and kind of rubbed it back and forth a couple of times, knocked some stuff, paper or rubber off the front end. He said now the water temperature has started back down. He thinks it's going to be fine.
We can see the plastic on the front end of Rick Crawford's truck. Looks like most of it right now is on covering the bumper and not the grill openings that gets air to the radiator.
Wow. Musgrave's all over the back of Rudiman. Good battle here.
There's Ricky Craven, the 99 on the inside of the Robert Huffman Toyota.
Remember, Robert Huffman, the 12 Toyota, is part of a 2-truck team now with David Rudiman out of Darrell's shop.
Matt Crafton holding on to that 2nd spot, but right behind him, Ron Hornaday. And again, the history there. Matt Crafton losing the ride to Ron Hornaday this year. So Matt Crafton trying to do everything he can to stay in front of Ron Hornaday.
That's as strong as we've seen that 88 truck in a while.
In a long time. Terry Cook won his first career Craftsman Truck Series race in that number 88 Chevrolet. But right now, Ron Hornaday has got a windshield full of Matt Crafton in the 88 truck.
Rick Crawford again trying to get by Robert Huffman. Crawford again going to the bottom of the racetrack.
You can carry momentum through the corners if you run around the top, Rick, but a truck that's handling better can get to the inside and make the pass, but it's a really day's work. It's a bunch of work to get underneath the guy and to complete the pass. You see Crawford, he's beside Huffman, but he just can't clear him yet.
Trying to do a little side drafting to try to keep his momentum. Tried to beat him down in the corner, couldn't quite do it. You see this wide racetrack. Robert moves up the racetrack, but really doesn't lose that much ground, although he did. Looks like Rick Crawford may clear him this time.
Just squozed in there.
Squozed?
Yeah. It's a new word. Crawford out in front of Robert Huffman now as David Starr still continues to lead this field. Matt Crafton holding on to 2nd. David Starr trying to be the star of California Speedway. Welcome back to the American Racing Wheels 200 in Fontana, California. David Starr in that newly painted Spears Manufacturing number 75 out in front. And right behind him, look at this. 2 wide, 3 back. 3 rows back. 2 wide racing.
See Robert Huffman in the 12, Brandon Witt in the 38 side by side. There's Chad Jeff, and what a horrible ride he had last week at Daytona, upside down the backstretch.
And of course, that's the truck that won here the last time we visited. Tom Bodine behind the wheel.
One of Arnold Germain's 2 trucks. Shiggy Artori is the other truck, the team truck. There's Bill Luster. He had a great run going at Daytona. Led about a dozen laps or something like that. Unfortunately got taken on the record. Look at Jimmy Spencer. Makes it 3 wide passes on the bottom.
He wanted to break up that pack of 4 Toyotas all running together. He throws his Dodge in there and makes it 3 wide when they go across the start-finish line.
Jimmy's got the side of that thing roughed up. He's ready to let the rough side drag. He wants to get with it. Got a truck going real slow over in turn 3. Looks like, I don't know if he'll make it back or not. Could. Calls a caution.
Big pack of trucks here. You see Jimmy Spencer lead this group. Robert Huffman second in this group. Brandon Witt. There's a 77 of Brendan Gaughan, our Grand Marshal for this race, our honorary starter. What was he?
Grand Marshal.
Well, you got to be impressed with the 1 truck right now, Phil. He's in traffic, but he's able to keep on moving up. I think he's going to go up there and visit the leaders here in a little bit.
Tracy Hines in that number 13. Michael mentioned it. Don't know if he's going to be able to make it down pit road or if a caution will come out. Side-by-side racing continued. Ricky Craven on the high side of Mike Skinner. Skinner trying to take a position back that Craven had taken away from him. And look on the bottom. David Rudiman trying to follow Skinner by Ricky Craven.
Craven started back in 22nd. Raced all the way up to the top 5. Real impressive on the start of this race.
He had such a good run last week, too. Got a good top 5 finish at Daytona. His first race of the year in this Jack Roush Super Chips Ford. See Johnny Benson, he's no stranger running in the top 10. Every time he teed it up last year, he ran in the top 5 or top 10.
I'm wondering if Ricky's truck hasn't gone tight on him, Bill. You know, he made such a good start. You'd think the truck was plenty tight for him on the start to move up through there as quickly as he did, and now he's starting to fade back. The thing's probably gone to pushing on him.
There's Mike Bliss.
Amazing story. We have Jack Sprague having to get out of that truck because he broke his heel on Wednesday. So he started the race to get the points, but now Mike Bliss has jumped in to finish the race for Jack Sprague.
Already back up to the 19th position. He looked for a way around the 22 of Bill Luster.
Ray, you got an unexpected visitor on pit road.
Well, sort of, Rick. I told you that the water temperature had gone up, and you see there's a bunch of plastic on the front of this 14 truck. That's what was keeping the water temperature up. So they'll pull that off, and off he goes.
That's not the worst thing in the whole world, Phil. He got a full tank of gas. He got his water temperature deal straightened around, and you've got this ally called the free pass. If he could just be the first guy a lap down, he can ride there and get his lap back and still be a contender in his 200th consecutive start.
Another view out of Mike Bliss's on board, the Chevy truck Chevrolet Silverado.
That's something you have to use in your race strategy nowadays. You have to kind of plan, know that thing's out there, know that maybe if you've got a problem, you can fix your problem at pit road and take advantage of that rule as the race progresses.
It's not the kiss of death like it once was. Before, if you would have made an unscheduled pit stop, got a lap down, you would have to be the best truck here to get a lap back. Not anymore.
One caution's taken place at California Speedway. That took out the 66 of Tom Bodine, the 08 of Ken Weaver, and the 13 is off the track now as well. In celebration of the 10th anniversary of the Truck Series, we present the toughest NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series moments made possible by Craftsman, the official tools of NASCAR. And now moment 24. It's not about a race, but a procedure. In the early years of the Truck Series, NASCAR did not run live pit stops. Instead, they would call a competition caution at the middle of the race and bring all the trucks to pit road. This was in place as a cost-saving measure for the competitors. but it was also necessary at many of the early venues as the small bullring tracks around the country could not accommodate live pit stops. In July of 1998, that all changed when NASCAR decided to utilize the same rules that were in place for the Cup and Busch Series. Live pit stops was one of the final steps to legitimize the Truck Series as one of NASCAR's top series. And it continues to show drama as we're in the second event of the year, California Speedway. Welcome back to the American Racing Wheels 200. After 32 laps of racing, David Starr's been in front all 32 of those laps. We're riding on board the number 16 Chevrolet, which would normally be driven by Jack Sprague. But because of an incident on Wednesday, this took place.
Caution came out early. Jack Sprague made his way to pit road. There's Mike Bliss, the 2002 Truck Series champion. Jack came in the pits. Mike jumped in the truck, and he's already got that truck back into the top 20. Just gained another position up into 14th right now, 33 laps into this race.
The incident I talked about on Wednesday, Jack Sprague actually fell off of his roof. He was cleaning his gutters, fell off his roof. He said it was about 16 feet in the air and broke his heel. So he was not able to stay in that truck for the entire extent of this race.
That pains me thinking about it.
Mike Bliss, familiar with truck racing, familiar with California Speedway. He was our first winner in 1997 at this race.
That's a little deceiving. It said he started 11th. He actually had, Jack Sprague started the truck, had to go to the back of the pack because under NASCAR rules you cannot change drivers and keep your starting position. So he had to go to the back of the pack. There's Shiggy Hattori, the 9 truck.
Now he's getting his sea legs under him, Phil. We've seen him run within a 10th of a second of what the leaders are running. You're at 42 flat, right? What the leaders are running. Then the next lap, he's off to run 44 flat. That's just because he doesn't have the experience or the knowledge or the confidence to get out there and understand exactly how to do this job. But if you've got speed, which he shows he has speed, you can learn everything else.
And one thing that's, when we're talking about Shiggy Hattori right now, Shiggy Hattori just went behind Rick Crawford. So Rick Crawford is actually the first truck now 1 lap down. So if a caution would come out, the free pass goes to Rick Crawford, who came down pit road under green flag conditions to get tape off of the front end.
Well, that's fixing to change, though. The 75 is fixing to overtake the 07, which will mess Rick up again for a while.
It's all about timing. Rick Crawford wants to be the first truck 1 lap down, but every truck that David Starr puts a lap down until Rick Crawford gets by, then they would be eligible for the free pass. So Rick Crawford really wants nobody in between himself and David Starr. Right now, Sean Murphy is that truck 1 lap down. David Starr just passed him on this most recent lap. So if the caution flag were to fly right now, Sean Murphy, not Rick Crawford, would get the free pass.
Wendy?
The Palmdale, California native Ron Hornaday is running in the second spot. I'm sorry, the third spot. They do plan on pitting around lap 48, which is a little bit longer than most teams are going. They were going to pit. Other teams were pitting around lap 45. So Wally Rogers, the crew chief, is trying to stretch it out. Hornaday was complaining that his truck is getting loose. So when he comes in, they're going to tighten it up for him.
That's great if it actually works that way. You know, you complain about your truck doing a lot of things, and these crews have so many options at their disposal of how to adjust it. In a 14, 15-second stop, they can make 4 or 5 different changes to that truck in hopes of making it handle better. Hornaday's reporting to them what that truck's doing right now. Johnny Benson is running him down. There's going to be a battle for that third spot here before long.
But these drivers and teams really don't want to make more than about 2 pit stops, so they really want to try to nail it down and get the adjustments that they need for these trucks, because the more time you spend on pit road, the more track position you lose, even though it may be under caution. So they want to be able to, they know they have to stop twice. They want to be able to get this thing dialed in so they don't have to lose their track position late in the race.
David Starr continues to lead. He's led every lap so far. The American Racing Wheels 200. Ted Musgrave right on his heels. Second event of the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series taking place in California. The first time that we've ever gone from Daytona to a race right away the very next week in the Truck Series, and David Starr showing some strength. Also showing strength, the 62 of Steve Park.
Wow, Steve is on it.
Well, guys, Ted Musgrave is on his way. He's going to make an air pressure adjustment to try to help the truck. What he said on the radio, that he thought they had to take some wedge out because he was very tight coming off the corner. They asked him on a scale of 1 to 10, how tight are you? He said about a 6.5. So they will go to work on the right side there as the guys take on Steve Harani and Kyle Lewis do the tire changing for this #1 Mopar Dodge. Bobby Kosiski is the jack man and Dean Sakuda is the gas man. They'll do routine work for Ted Musgrave, clean off the front of the grill, and the 1 truck will head back to the racetrack. The 2 truck of Jimmy Spencer, his teammate, is also in at the other end of pit road.
See, Jimmy Spencer, he's going to get 4 tires, probably some air pressure adjustments. Jimmy had driven his way all the way into the top 10. You guys really raved about this pit crew over the winter. They said they really had their act together as you see Jimmy leave. See all the damage from that earlier accident, but it's between the wheels. It will not affect the performance of this truck.
Green flag pit stops taking place now. Still, David Starr, who's led every lap, has not come in yet. We're expecting he will be in shortly.
See Johnny Benson drive by Ron Hornaday. That's for the 2nd position. By virtue of the Ted Musgrave pit stop.
Looks like, we got a crash. Shiggy and Chase.
Chase Montgomery in the number 18, Shiggy Hattori in the number 9. Chase trying to back up.
This is going to be a horrible break for some of these drivers that have already made pit stops. Ted Musgrave and Jimmy Spencer, Terry Cook, Brandon Witt have all made their pit stops. And now will find themselves at least 1 lap down, Michael.
Have to see how this shuffles out, Phil. Not the timing you want, obviously, for a caution flag. About 3 or 4 laps ago, everybody on pit road would have been happy to see this caution. Now the guys that have already pitted have dug themselves a deeper hole than we saw Mike Bliss start in.
We saw the 30 of Chad Cheffin come on pit road. When the caution flag came out, he elected to go straight back on the racetrack, so that may have saved him a lap.
Let me ask you both right now, as we're going to take a look at what took place here.
See Chad's coming down pit road. He's going to get a report. He starts to stop. He says, no, the caution flag's out. Let me get back to the racetrack. That may have saved him a lap. See Bobby Hamilton 04 truck. I wonder if he did the same thing. If he stopped in his pits and did his pit service, he will find himself a lap down.
I wanted to ask you now, if you're Rick Crawford right now, who came in under green flag situations and put fuel in his truck, does he not come in right now to try to get that lap back?
I think that's exactly what you have to do. Whatever you did on your pit stop, your tires only have 2 or 3 laps on them. You need to get to the front of the line so that you're one of the first few trucks 1 lap down and get that lap back first. That's the first thing we got to get done. We can't worry about any other problems or issues that might be happening with that truck. We got to get back on the lead lap.
And remember, Rick Crawford, he just came in for enough time to pull that plastic off his grill, so his tires have 43 laps on them. And he's all these other trucks that are on the lead lap will make their pit stops under caution and have fresh tires. So Michael, you've been on this racetrack today with 40 lap tires. He won't be able to keep up, will he?
You can't. The tires do fall off quite considerably. We ran 43 laps. The fastest lap in the race is right around a 41 flat, and these guys were running up past 42 flat. So you definitely need some tires at this point. But if you just pitted, you got tires, and you only got 3 or 4 laps on them, you want to stay on the racetrack and get that track position.
2 trucks getting worked on. The 9 of Shiggy Hattori and also the 18 of Chase Montgomery.
Bad news for Chad Cheffin. Even though he did not stop for his pit work, he is being shown 1 lap down, along with Jimmy Spencer, Ted Musgrave, Terry Cook, Bobby Hamilton.
I think Sean Murphy will get the free pass, Phil. He hadn't pitted. He had just fallen a lap down due to his performance. So he'll grab this one. See who gets the next one.
It'll be a good fight to see who gets this next one with Rick Crawford and Chad Cheffin, Bobby Hamilton, Jimmy Spencer. You've got so many good trucks now by virtue of the fact that they had already made their pit stop that they're all finding themselves 1 lap down, and there's only so many free passes to go around.
And when we saw Chad Cheffin come in there, he was going pretty quick, and by virtue of him not stopping, it looked like he may have run over an air hose that the tire changer had already come across the other side of the truck.
That should be a pass-through, isn't it, Phil?
I think that would be a pass-through penalty.
Lap penalty.
See, Bobby Hamilton's 04 truck is back on pit road.
What's up with that truck? He's not running like we see Bobby Hamilton run on these tracks.
You know, Michael, I think he probably drove the smartest, as smarter race as I've ever seen anyone run last year. Now, last week at Daytona, and he won the race. Now, a lot of people, you see the hood up right now, so he may have some problems. A lot of people have good strategy, but it doesn't always work. It worked perfectly for Bobby Hamilton. It could not have worked better. I wonder if he was maybe adopting a similar kind of strategy, knowing there's going to be a couple, 3 caution flags in this race, maybe ride around for a little bit, save my stuff. Do you think?
I don't think that works here. I bet you that there's something wrong with that truck. He doesn't like the way it's driving. It's got a miss. Something's going on with it that's kept him from running toward the front. I thought it was pretty cool last Friday night after the truck race. Dale Jr. called me up and he said, Bobby Hamilton made all them other guys look silly. You know, he didn't tear up his truck. He rode around. He waited till the time to go, and he went and he won the race. He said, you know, anytime you have a plan like that, a lot of times a young driver, a team will say, oh man, this isn't any fun. I got to go up middle of all that. Bobby owns his truck. He don't care what anybody else thinks. He had a plan and he stuck to it and won the race. What a great race that was last week.
And his plan really started at the beginning of the week. He ran 2 laps of practice prior to qualifying, saved all his tires. He actually had another set of tires in the pits had he needed them, but he had the same plan. He stuck with it for the entire week and he ended up in victory lane.
Here comes our leader. David Starr brings the lead lap trucks down pit road. Let's go down first to Windy.
Ron Hornaday makes his way into his pit stall, maintaining the 55-mile-an-hour pit road speed. His crew goes to work. Jason Meeks on the front, Kyle Ketchman on the rear, Jason Tate jacking. The truck was a little loose, so they made an air pressure adjustment. Everything looks pretty routine here in Ron Hornaday's pit. Ray?
The Flame Guard Chevy of David Starr was just wanting to be tightened up a little bit coming off of the turn, so they went down 1 round on the track bar. 4 tires and gas for these guys. You see the 23, Johnny Benson, he wanted to go up on air pressure on the right front and down on air pressure on the right rear. The 75 will be just barely beaten off pit road by the 6 of Ron Hornaday. They had a good race there, but Starr will lose the lead to Hornaday.
Good pit work by Wally Rogers and his entire team for Ron Hornaday.
So the first truck that's been in front of David Starr all night is Ron Hornaday. We're under caution number 2, California Speedway. That is Chase Montgomery's number 18 trying to make his way down pit road. Coverage of the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series American Racing Wheels 200 on Speed Channel is brought to you by Domino's Pizza. Get the door. It's Domino's, the official pizza of NASCAR. And by Advance Auto Parts. For the best parts, people, and price. Ready in advance. Haven't heard a lot about our series champion, reigning series champion, Bobby Hamilton, right?
Well, guys, we knew that Bobby Hamilton was running a little bit hot. I had heard him say earlier that that he was 270 on water, so we knew that they needed to do something there. But apparently, just like Rick Crawford earlier, they had some sort of a piece of debris blew up on the front of the truck there. It said it was clear, though, so the spotter couldn't see it. And he said the water temperature just kept going up, so they had to pit there to get that down. Bobby said the water temperature is on its way back down, so maybe things are rectified there. He'd gotten back in the pack there because he was trying to run outside of the group to get fresh air in to the radiator. It wasn't helping any as he was at 270.
He is being shown 1 lap down. There's several trucks 1 lap down. We've got a couple on the tail end of the lead lap. We've got Ted Musgrave, the one that his teammate Jimmy Spencer in the 2, being shown on the tail end of the lead lap, along with Terry Cook and Brandon Witt.
We're going to find out right quick how stout that 75 truck of David Starr's is. He's got a bunch of trucks in front of him. He's got, obviously, Hornaday and those guys right out his front windshield. Johnny Benson, a real fast truck on his bumper. And then he's got the lap trucks he's going to have to deal with. This will be good. This will be good racing right here.
And this is the first time he's been in any traffic whatsoever. He took the lead right at the start, so he's never really had any trucks in front of him.
Other than lap trucks that he's put a lap down. But he has had a strong truck tonight. Taking the green flag will be Ted Musgrave, but again, he's at the back end of the lead lap.
Remember, there are 5 trucks right now in front of our leader, Ron Hornaday, and they're all around the tail end of the lead lap. Would desperately love to stay ahead of Ron Hornaday and catch a caution flag.
Ron Hornaday looks as though he's thinking about making it 3 wide, and he thinks again. As they get through 1 and 2, he settles back in behind the outside line.
I don't know if you ever heard this before, but Hornaday gets really good restarts.
Yeah, he's the master. But remember now, we talk so much about the free pass. If Ted Musgrave, Terry Cook, any of these drivers stay in front of Ron Hornaday or Johnny Benson, who is now taking the lead in the bottom of the racetrack, they would get their lap back and not have to rely on a free pass. But Johnny Benson now has the lead. Wow.
4 wide across the start-finish line, and Johnny Benson out in front, but now David Starr decides, I want it back.
Wow. Well, we know what David Starr, how his truck is now. He said he's going to really be tested. Well, he went from 3rd to 1st in the space from the start-finish line to turn 1.
David Starr back out in front. He just put Terry Cook a lap down, so he is being shown as 1 lap down on the scoreboard.
We still have Ted Musgrave, Rick Crawford, and Jimmy Spencer all in front of our leader right now, David Starr.
3 wide. Brendan Gaughan in the middle.
Dennis Setzer, the 46 Silverado on the inside. And that's Robert Huffman, the 12 Toyota Tundra on the outside.
And here comes Bill Lester around the top side.
New sponsorship on that truck. Rallies this week.
Rallies is the official hamburger place of NASCAR.
One guy who's happy to be making laps around right now without any problems, Todd Cleaver in that number 50 at Roush Racing Stables.
Probably be happy to be away from Daytona. As much bad luck as he had in Daytona.
There's a good look at that number 50 truck that Todd's driving. Kept it right around the top 10 all night.
Had a good qualifying effort. Todd qualified in the 7th position.
Yeah, it's great to have Shell Rotella T on board with that truck this year. When John Wood was driving it a year ago, that was a plain white truck most races, and so I'm sure Roush is very happy about the fact that they've got decals on that truck this year. Wendy?
Todd Cleaver was very happy to be leaving Daytona. I spoke to him a lot this weekend. He said, I couldn't be happier to be in California. So an excited Todd Cleaver says he just wanted to keep his truck in one piece this weekend. They went back to their setup that they had in happy hour. He's been fairly happy with the truck all weekend.
Just past halfway, Rick.
100 lap race. We have 48 laps to go.
Might call Domino's now. I don't know. Order you a pizza.
Be a good time.
I think.
The 04 of Bobby Hamilton trying to make his way back up toward the front. The problem is he is a lap down.
He's going to find himself losing a lot of points tonight. He's just not having a good night at all.
Riding along with the 16 of Mike Bliss, being shown in 7th position. Mike Skinner in front of him. In this race today, we will have had 5 previous champions running this race. 2 of them in the same truck.
You don't have that every week.
As a matter of fact, we've never had it.
But it shows the incredible strength of this truck series. We've got so much competition. We talked about it last week at Daytona. We've got 10 of the top 12 in points from last year back, along with Johnny Benson full-time, Todd Bodine full-time, Jimmy Spencer in the series, Ron Hornaday back, a 2-time champion. What a terrific series we have here.
Don't forget about Ricky Craven coming into the 99 as well this year. Very competitive already this year.
Wow. Like the 16 got a little loose getting into 3 there. You can see Spencer. He's hanging on, Phil, for dear life on the lead lap. But here comes trouble in the form of David Starr.
Very, very strong truck for David Starr and the Spears Manufacturing Flame Guard, number 75. New paint job for David Starr. He may want to keep this on all year long. Welcome back to the American Racing Wheels 200. We're under the 3rd caution of the evening, and we're viewing at Deborah Renshaw in that Easy Care number 8. She was actually the reason for the caution coming out. Let's take a look.
Coming off turn number 2. Watch for the red trucks. He's on the inside of a truck. Looks like Brandon Witt, the 38 truck, on the outside.
Everything's normal for a little while, but then the air gets robbed off that rear spoiler and she couldn't hold on to it.
We see that happen all the time. You saw the roof flap deploy. She couldn't quite hang on to it. Going to get another view. So you're on the inside. It just robs that spoiler of the downforce it needs, the air it needs to keep the back of these trucks on the racetrack.
Moving to the front, David Starr in the Spears Manufacturing Flame Guard number 75 continues to lead.
Welcome back to the American Racing Wheels 200, coming to you from Fontana, California. A number of trucks have headed to pit road because of this last caution. Jimmy Spencer and his ASE Dodge came in. They put fuel in, no tires on that truck, but they did put around a wedge in the right side. That was at lap 57. Mike Skinner also came to pit road, but he did put on 4 tires on his Toyota Tundra. But the big question is, why did David Starr not stop? The leader of this race cannot make it the distance on fuel. His crew chief, Dave McCarty, decided, we're staying out. We like the track position. Wendy?
Crew chief Wally Rogers was following suit on the 75 truck. They didn't pit, so the 6 truck did not pit. They said they can make it on fuel in the 6 truck, but they are going to run out of tires, they feel like. So we could see the 6 truck come back down pit road at one point tonight again. Also, the 10 truck of Terry Cook, he pit on lap 57, was one of those trucks to come down pit road. He's had trouble with his truck all night. He simply said it will not turn. They added a right rear rubber and took 4 tires and fuel.
Randy Kaiser takes the pace truck back down pit road.
Bobby Hamilton has positioned himself at the front of the 1 lap down truck, so looking for a free pass. He's got to outrun Brandon Witt and Terry Cook, Chad Chaffin, and a few other guys to get it.
The 1 of Ted Musgrave, the 14 of Rick Crawford were able to stay in front of the leader when the caution flag came out, so they got their lap back. And Jimmy Spencer, the 2 truck, was the recipient of the free pass. That looked like Chad Chaffin, the 30 truck, on the inside of the racetrack. Did not come up to speed.
Now he's coasting through turn 2 there. I don't know what happened to him.
Sounded quiet. Sounded like the engine was not running on that truck.
All the way up to 6th place, Mike Bliss driving that number 16 Chevrolet.
You had to figure he was going to be a contender, man. He's with his old team.
Jack told me yesterday, Jack actually practiced this truck a little bit, and he said, I'm telling you, that was the best truck I've ever had at California. And he's had some great trucks at California. He's won this race twice. He said, I hate getting out of that truck so bad, but I know Bliss will do a better job because I can't race crippled like this. I've got to let Bliss get in this truck so we can try to win this race.
Just so that you understand, Jack Sprague started the race in the number 16. He had a broken left heel, was not able to go the entire distance. So at the first caution, they came out relatively early on lap 4. He was able to get out of that truck, and Mike Bliss was able to get in, and now Mike Bliss contending for the 5th position.
I don't know if that 30 truck's going to make it back. If he doesn't, Bobby Hamilton has positioned himself to get a free pass, get back on the lead lap, maybe try to rebound from a slow start tonight.
There he is. He's actually in turn 4, side by side for the lead. Look at Johnny Benson, the 23 Toyota, on the inside of David Starr.
Wow. Johnny has improved his truck field. They used that caution flag and worked that truck over. He is going for the lead off turn 4. You can see him driving that thing, headed sideways on the inside of Starr.
He got loose. He lost some air off the spoiler like we showed. Look at Ron Hornaday make it 3 wide.
3 wide to the start-finish line. Ron Hornaday looks as though he's going to take the top spot, almost side by side with David Starr, going across the start-finish line in less than a half a tenth of a second.
Well, watch Johnny getting loose again. He's getting loose
right
again.
out next to the 75. That won't work.
Pushes David Starr up out of the groove into loose stuff. He gets sideways.
Shaking down the front of the pack. Ron Hornaday separates himself from 1st and 2nd.
Here comes David Rudiman on the inside of the lap truck of Bobby Hamilton for 2nd place. Hamilton's got that thing tuned up now, Phil. He's running right at the front of the field.
Caution flag is out. The 30 truck of Chad Chaffin is not going to be able to make it back. Bobby Hamilton will get the free pass.
Wow, that was intense with Johnny Benson up on the inside of the 75. Got sideways, run him up the hill. They lost a lot of momentum and a lot of track position right there.
David Starr did not come in on the last on the last caution, he's got to come in, doesn't he?
Oh, yeah, he's coming in now.
Yeah, he's coming in. And I really don't understand why, because I think they were all in their window to make it the rest of the way. Now, he's going to have just a little bit fresher tires if he pits this time and puts tires on than a lot of these other trucks. But I don't think with the 4 or 5 laps we ran, Michael, it's going to make enough difference.
Well, Phil, it's so difficult to pass. You just saw Johnny Benson. He put a power move on our leader, couldn't complete the pass, got sideways. 3 or 4 people raced up in the middle of all that mess. That's what David Starr is going to be faced with. He's coming to pit road. Sure, he's going to get fresher tires, 2 or 3 laps, no big deal, but he's going to bury himself in the back of the field.
We have seen David Starr be a very strong truck tonight, though he may have the truck to beat if he's able to make the pit stop and not lose too much track position.
He'll be fun to watch, I promise you that. That thing will go, and I was real impressed with Johnny Benson just then. Golly, he took that thing right to the bottom of the racetrack and did something with Starr. Quite frankly, I didn't think we would see tonight. I thought David Starr was going to drive off and leave those guys. Johnny improved his truck, put it right there on him.
But he sure had his handful too, didn't he? He was fighting that wheel, we could see.
Flatter track, California, from what we saw a week ago at Daytona, where at Daytona it was accelerator pedal all the way to the metal.
Wow.
Wendy?
Ron Hornaday is planning to come in. As you see him come down pit road, he was so excited when he made that move. It was like listening to the old Ron Hornaday back in the days of the Truck Series. As the crew goes to work a pretty routine stop, they're going to take 4 tires and no adjustments on Ron Hornaday's truck.
Here comes David Starr in this Flame Guard Chevrolet. This truck is usually blue and white. Tonight it is black for the first time ever. Ronnie Carrier and James Rowland do the tires. George Landers is the jack man. Skip Dugan does the gas here. They said we're only going to need a little more than a can of gas. We shouldn't need much more. Lap 64 that they came in and pitted. Everything routine so far with the tires. No big hang-up. David Starr goes back to the racetrack. But just like Michael said, they're going to be way deep in traffic.
There's Johnny Benson.
Like he had a little bit of trouble in his stop, Phil. He's going to lose
several positions, come out behind the majority of these trucks that pitted on this caution flag.
I was surprised that many people pitted. We hadn't had that many green flag laps since the time that the other guys pitted.
What took place with Ron Hornaday, Wendy?
A little bit of trouble on the left-hand side of Ron Hornaday's truck. The truck was not all the way up on the jack, so the left rear tire had a little bit of trouble. They had to jack it up one more time and then finally get that tire changed, so he lost a couple spots on that pit stop.
Ricky Craven won the race off of pit road in that Ford number 99. But the man who stayed out was Mike Bliss. Ray?
Well, guys, a lug nut fell off the right rear tire for Johnny Benson. Bill Haggerty changes the right side tires and on the rear tire, excuse me, and that was the problem. One lug nut fell off. He had to reach down, grab one, put it back up. So that's why Johnny Benson had a fairly long stop there on that pit stop.
We'll have about 35 laps to go, 34 laps to go exactly when we get this race restarted. It's going to be very interesting to see how many of these trucks that are going to come from the back can make their way all the way back to the front.
Some guys stayed out. Heading that list is that man's truck that Mike Bliss is driving. That was Jack Sprague. He got out of the truck earlier, and now from the back to the front, Mike Bliss is leading this race. I like that strategy, Phil.
Well, let's take a closer look at the Premier Division of NASCAR and our Nextel Cup update while we're under our 4th caution. Look at the points, Michael.
There they are. They basically mirror the finish from Daytona.
Jeff Gordon claiming 3rd Daytona 500.
What a great run by Kevin LePage. A good top 10 finish in a under-financed car compared to the rest of these drivers. Terrific job.
Kevin LePage had difficulties getting through Tech today just to get out and practice a little bit.
I don't think I could build one of these cars to pass Tech. You ought to see all the gauges they put on them before they go on the track. Heck, with trying to build it to be faster than everybody else's, I would just be proud if I could build one that would pass Tech.
Those of you just tuning in, Jack Sprague is sitting on top of the toolbox because of the fact that he has a broken left heel. He started this race. He will get the points for this race no matter where the 16 truck ends up. They will be Jack Sprague's points, but that's Mike Bliss in that truck.
And if Mike goes on to win this race, Jack Sprague would get credit for the victory. He would get all the accolades, the victory, the points, the money, and everything, and Mike Bliss would get a handshake.
I bet he's going to celebrate a little bit, though, if Mike Bliss wins this race.
He'll probably give him some money. That's about all he could do.
I'm sure he gets that no matter where he finishes. The green flag flies, and it is Mike Bliss leading the field to the start-finish line.
The guys that have been the dominant trucks all night long, Phil, find themselves back in 12th, 15th position due to the differing strategies. Bliss stayed out on that caution there to gain track position, as did Todd Cleaver, Matt Crafton, a bunch of guys that have good trucks. Now they position themselves at the front. That guy right there, Steve Park, he is on it. That thing is handling great, and Steve has driven it straight to the front.
Dennis Setzer, the 46 truck. We saw him earlier in this race battling with Mike Bliss. He stayed out. He's currently being shown in the top 5.
Robert Huffman right behind Dennis Setzer.
See Ron Hornaday, the black hood, Goodwrench Chevrolet, moving on the outside, bringing David Starr, the 75 truck, with him.
3 wide again as the field goes through 1 and 2. Unbelievable racing in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series, even on a flatter super speedway.
Look at that. That's a beautiful sight, those trucks all battling. Mike Skinner to the bottom of the racetrack on the inside of Jimmy Spencer into turn 3.
These drivers know we have just a little bit over 30 laps to go. It's time to go now. More than likely, the majority of these guys have made their last pit stop. We see Mike Skinner get a little bit loose in the middle of those 3 trucks.
Now Spencer just drives right back around him.
That's the way it works in the Craftsman Truck Series. You make one mistake, and the other guys are going to pounce on you. Jimmy Spencer taking the spot back.
That's heavy traffic, Phil.
See Brendan, the black truck on the inside of the 77, on the inside of the 5 of Mike Skinner. We saw him on the inside of Mike Skinner at Daytona. He lost control of the truck, caused a major accident.
4 wide, Deborah Renshaw bouncing around in the red truck with the racing stripes down the middle. That's the number 8 Dodge of Deborah Renshaw.
Bobby Hamilton getting himself back into contention here.
Don't ever count that.
We marked him off a few minutes ago.
Bobby Hamilton on the scoring charts being shown 18th, but he is on the lead lap, so he is definitely in contention.
We've got 22 trucks currently right now on the lead lap, and the majority of them are in contention.
And Michael, when you mentioned just a moment ago when this race restarted, we talked about guys like Ron Hornaday, David Starr, Johnny Benson, how well they're doing. Well, Ron Hornaday's moved all the way to 7th, whereas David Starr is still in 13th.
As you mentioned before, Ron Hornaday helped his truck. It looks like David Starr, the changes that they made maybe didn't help as much because he's actually lost some ground. Ron Hornaday is driven towards the front, and David Starr is mired back in this major traffic.
David Starr trying the higher line as he gets by Jimmy Spencer.
You know, David Starr was out front, no traffic driving away from these guys. Now we put him in the middle of a mess, and his truck isn't working as good. You kind of expect that, Phil. If you got a perfect truck out front, chances are it might not be so good when you get all that air stirring around you.
These trucks are running some of the fastest lap times that they have all night.
This track in California is very heat sensitive. As it gets cooler, the trucks just stick to the road better, so the speeds will pick up. These guys are trying to wreck. I'm not kidding you.
So there's the 75 of David Starr, the black truck with the yellow hood. Matt Crafton looks like right up against the wall, coming off turn number 4.
Mike Bliss driving the number 16 out in front of rookie Todd Cleaver. Out of the Roush Racing stable, Steve Park, Matt Crafton, and Dennis Setzer are on top of the charts. Tunnelheads rejoice. Dave Despain is back. More callers, more email, more hot topics, and more of the biggest names in racing will stop by. That's Wind Tunnel Sunday at 9 p.m. Eastern, only on Speed Channel. Ray?
Well, guys, number 16 truck pitted at lap 45. I'm trying to find out whether they're going to have enough fuel to make it all the way. Bliss has done a masterful job of working his way up through the pack. So far, he has said nothing about the chassis. Said the thing is running really, really well. How about the 50 truck, Wendy?
Rookie Todd Cleaver, his first ever race at California, doing pretty well in the second spot. He came in at lap 45 and got 4 tires. He also topped off at lap 57. Ray?
The number 62 truck of Steve Park is having a problem with his carburetor. When he gets up tight on somebody's bumper, he says he seems to lose power. When he's in open air, everything runs fine. How about Setzer, Wendy?
Dennis Setzer and crew chief Eric Phillips was trying to play a little bit of strategy. They came in on lap 57 to top off with fuel, but the wrench got stuck when they made a track bar adjustment. So because of that penalty, they knew they had to go to came back in 1 lap later and changed 4 tires. Ray?
Well, Wendy, you normally don't see a short track truck on a big super speedway like this, but the truck that Matt Crafton is driving tonight actually ran at 5th place at Mansfield last year with Tracy Hines. They know that's a really good truck, but they put a brand new body on it, and Crafton has said the thing was very tight off the corners. They've made adjustments on it and made it much better. For Robert Huffman, he has not said too much on the radio tonight, driving an old number 17 truck that David Rudiman did not race last year. This is a truck that just sat around in the shop. They haven't raced it until tonight. Now the number 75 of David Starr is starting to move his way to the bunt. After that pit stop, he said the truck just wouldn't go. But after the air pressures came back up, it seems like now that number 75 is back on kill. Starr has moved from 14th all the way up to 6th now. Now the 223 of Johnny Benson.
David Starr gets sideways. It's David Starr, who had just moved up to 6th, gets sideways with that very strong truck. Johnny Benson almost caught up with it, and he's able to keep it going straight.
Michael, Rick, we've seen it so many times. He was on the inside. It looked like a Robert Huffman trying to make the pass, coming off turn 2, lost there off the spoiler, lost the back end, caught it, overcorrected. Man, look at the damage.
Wow, what a fast truck, too. He'd driven out. He was trying to pass Robert Huffman for the 5th spot. He came to life after that restart, fought his way to the front. I know he's just got to be very, very distraught. Just
got to be brokenhearted. He knew he probably had the best truck here. He was making his way back, was racing back into the top 5. Unfortunately, just horrible damage to the 75 truck. There's Johnny Benson. He got caught up when David Starr came off the wall. He clipped Johnny. Johnny's probably will be able to make repairs. You see he has a flat right rear tire right there.
Also the left front, he spun every which way, but kept it going in the right direction. Now these guys will come in, and starting on the left side, they're going to have to change their rights as well. That right rear's flat.
We didn't get a good look at the left side, other than we knew he was going straight, but they're doing some cosmetic work to the left side as well.
I don't think anything happened to the left. They need to change that right rear tire. I think they're coming around to do that. Was Setzer involved as well, or what's his problem? Yeah, he got some damage
to the back of that truck.
See a little bit of damage to the right rear corner of that truck. We can't really see the right side right now.
Johnny's getting him a new right rear tire. There's David Starr. Look at him. I know he's just so disappointed. Anytime you just can't keep it off of a guy, Phil, you know, when you start feeling it slide up the hill and you just can't keep it off of him, it'll get sideways in 2 seconds. You're turning the wheels, Phil, to the left hard, trying to stay away from him, and then all of a sudden the air catches the back of it and around you go. Ray?
Well, Michael, I've been very concerned about the 16's fuel. I told you they came in on lap 45. That was correct. That's the last time they got fuel. So the spotter, Dave Fuge Sr., just called down to Chris Showalter, the crew chief, and said, how are we going to be on fuel? He said, well, right now we're 2 laps short, so we need 5 laps of caution. Are we going to get 5 laps of caution here? We don't know. They said, well, yes, we think we will. We're going to roll the dice. If there's 5 laps of caution right now, they believe they can make it all the way to the end. That is, if there's no green-white checker.
I don't think they can make it. But I don't know, obviously.
Let's take a look at why we're under the 5th caution of the night. David Starr, the strongest truck in the field, gets sideways. And that brings out our caution flag.
Oh.
Welcome back to the American Racing Wheels 200. Probably the fastest truck in the race tonight is now being hauled into the infield. Take a look at how this took place.
He was going for the 5th position on the inside of Robert Huffman. You see, watch him. He's going to try to stay off Robert Huffman. You see him correct it back to the right as he loses the back end, and then the thing grabs, and straight across the racetrack it goes. Hard contact into the outside wall, bounces off that, and he's going to come and catch the 46 truck of Dennis Setzer and really give Johnny Benson, the 23 truck, a shot.
He also hit the concrete wall there, Phil. He had cleared the safer barrier, hit the wall where the concrete began. So I know that's a hard blow. Look, right there is the key to this wreck. He got sideways down on the bottom, slid up the hill, got next to Robert, and Robert barely slipped by.
What a horrible break. Michael, you've been in that boat. You had such a good car last week at Daytona for the Daytona 500. You had trouble. Wasn't able to finish this race. When you've got probably the best car or truck, and you're not able to quite to pull it off, it's just so demoralizing, isn't it?
Oh, it is. And I know David just can't even hardly breathe right now after what happened. But, you know, we see that all the time, Phil. These guys get down on the inside of each other, and it's very difficult, A, to complete the pass, or B, to even keep going in the right direction. And so Dave just had that thing get away from him right there.
And remember, had the 12 truck of Robert Huffman not been there, David Starr would not have spun out. But the fact that that truck was on the outside of him, he lost enough air off the spoiler, got sideways. Unfortunately, it's going to end his night.
And I think that's why NASCAR is going in the direction they are with the Cup Series. They're cutting those spoilers down. They're talking about cutting them down more, maybe taking some valence off of them. Cars or trucks would not lose their aerodynamic when they got side by side if they didn't have any, you know, and the racing could possibly be better. That's the direction NASCAR's decided to head. Might be worth investigating that route.
Remember back in the late 80s, early 90s, our cars were not as aerodynamic as they are now, and we didn't have the problems getting that loose on the inside of another car like they do now.
Jack Sprague watching as his truck is leading this race. Mike Bliss is behind the wheel. Steve Park has made it all the way up to second. Todd Cleaver in third, and Matt Crafton in fourth.
What a great run for Steve Park. We haven't talked about him a whole lot. Charlie Wilson, Steve Park, they're doing such a terrific job. Part of a two-truck team now with Brendan. They're getting double the information. They've got that truck on kill.
Steve got him some gas at lap 58. He can't make it to the finish.
Speaking of gas, does Mike Bliss have to be cognizant of that right now, or does he just race?
Well, he has no choice but to run hard enough to stay in the lead, because they made their bed. There's no stopping now unless he runs out of gas. When they forego the chance to stop back at lap 64, they said, hey, we're going to have to run the rest of this race. If we run out of gas, well, then we were trying to win the race. They can't stop now unless they're out of gas.
Fuel mileage coming into play. Can Mike Bliss go 17 laps? That is the big question right now.
Drama.
And can he hold off the 62 of Steve Park, who seems to be charging toward the front?
Steve's truck is right. He's got that. We're late in the race. 16 laps to go. Park's in a position to win this thing.
See, Ricky Craven pulled to the inside of Robert Huffman. He saw what happened to David Starr when he did that. He backed off, a veteran move getting in the corner, because he did not want to go in there completely side by side.
You have to give yourself a little space. You know, you can go in there, but you want to be able to dive to the left and get away from that other truck. If you don't have room to get away from the other truck, then you just bail out like you saw happen there. What about Bobby Hamilton?
We wrote him off a little while ago, and Michael, he's in the third position.
We did write him off. I said this isn't like last week. This won't work this week. Well, he has proven us wrong.
Gary Earnhardt having a very strong run right now, and that's actually a backup truck. He had problems in practice and wrecked his primary truck and had to bring the backup truck out. So Gary Earnhardt in the top 10, but it is Mike Bliss out in front of Steve Park, Bobby Hamilton, Matt Crafton, and rookie Todd Cleaver. Welcome back to Fontana, California. We take a look at the Toyota Spotlight. This is the current running position for the Toyotas. Highest Toyota scored right now, Robert Huffman in 7th position.
Toyota won this race last fall.
Top Rhode Island driving the 30, Arnold Germain, Toyota.
Let's go down to trackside and windy.
A disappointing finish for David Starr. Your truck was so good, but you took a hard hit. It's good to see you're okay.
We're fine. I'm just disappointed for the Spears Motorsports team. Dave McCarty and my guys do such a good job, and I tell you, we had the right truck tonight. Our Chevy Silverado was pretty awesome. We were fighting our way back up to the front, and I got underneath somebody, and it just snapped loose on me, and I tried to catch it, and it caught, and I went into the wall. I messed up. I should have just spun it to the inside. Maybe we could have came in and put on some new tires, but I tell you what, we had a good hot ride tonight, and I'm just disappointed, you know, because I thought we had a good shot at winning the race, but that ain't going to be. But we'll be back at Atlanta.
Good news is he's okay. Ray?
Well,
Well, Wendy, David Starr's Chevrolet certainly was good tonight, but right now the number 16 is out there leading. And Jack Sprague, you've won 24 of these races. You've won 24 of these races behind the wheel, but have you ever won one sitting on the pit box?
No, it's kind of cool. It kind of hurts, but I tell you what, he's doing a great job. And these guys they're hanging themselves on a limb here, and hopefully it'll work out. I mean, he's going to be really close on fuel, but Chevy Truck Chevrolet was awesome. I told you yesterday it was awesome. I wish I was driving it, but he's doing a great job. Hey, maybe we're going to come out of here with a win.
All right, we'll see. I'm not sure if these guys can make it on fuel. 10 laps to go right now.
Inside of 10 laps, can Mike Bliss make it to the checkered flag? We'll be back to find out. Welcome back to the American Racing Wheels 200. We're still under green, and Mike Bliss is still out in front with 6 laps to go. Can he make it on fuel? It is going to be very tight, and that is the only question right now as to the outcome of this race.
Got a great battle back here. There's the 50 of Todd Cleaver, the rookie. For Jack Roush, he's running 6th. Robert Huffman, the 12 Toyota, 7th. Ted Musgrave is 8th. David Rudem in the NTN Bearing Toyota's 9th, and there's Jimmy Spencer in 10th.
He's out of gas.
16's out of gas.
He's slowing down. He did not make it, and so the 16 is going to have to come down pit road. He will relinquish the lead to Steve Park. Steve Park now leads the field.
All right, Steve's in the lead. I hate it for those guys on pit road. The 16 truck not making on gas. They did everything they could to get Mike Bliss to victory lane, but just came up about 10 miles short.
Steve Park, best finish in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series, a 3rd. That was at Las Vegas. Now in California, Steve Park looking to claim his first ever win in the Truck Series.
He's inside of 5 laps to go. He's got a little bit over a 2.5 lead on Bobby Hamilton.
Bobby, though, keeps putting up the fastest laps of the race right now. On that last time by, Steve ran a 42.12, and Bobby ran about a 42 flat. So he gained ground on Steve. Can Steve hold him off? Keep that thing heading in the right direction for just 4 more laps.
Michael, if we do the math, Steve Park has been in front of Bobby Hamilton by about 1/10 of a second. Only 4 laps to go. That's only a 1/2 a second. He's got a 1.5 second lead over Bobby Hamilton. Doing the math, he can't catch him.
Steve's going to have some trouble, or maybe to get tied up with a lap truck for Bobby Hamilton to have a shot at him. He's got to just keep this truck clean, keep it between the white line and the outside wall, and 3 more laps, bring this thing home.
Early celebration. You never want to see somebody jinx it, but Steve Park goes across the start-finish line. 3 laps to go, right?
Well, guys, you'll notice Steve Park is just about to catch his teammate, the number 77 of Brendan Gaughan. Brendan had to come to pit road for a pass-through because he jumped the restart. Now, you'll notice that Brendan's truck is black tonight, and Steve Park's truck is yellow with Jasper engines on it. Why is that? Well, Brendan had a special commitment to run American Racing Wheels on his truck tonight, so he said to Doug Ball, the owner of Jasper, we'll put your lettering on that 62 tonight. One of us is going to win the race. Here comes Steve catching Brendan right now. Brendan is going to be another lap down here, but Steve Park has Jasper on there tonight. That'll be Brendan's sponsor throughout the year, but it looks like Park's going to have enough. In his 31st start tonight, he's got 1 lap to go.
Ray lost another 3/10 on that lap. 2 to go. Coming back to the white flag. Lost about 3/10 to Bobby Hamilton on that lap. Truck got a little high on him down there in turns 1 and 2.
Now, with Brendan Gaughan being his teammate, Brendan's going to block. I mean, he will not let Bobby by him.
No way. Brendan Gaughan is not going to block Bobby Hamilton. He's not going to have to block Bobby Hamilton for one thing, but Brendan would never do that. He would love to see his truck, the 62, win this race, but he's not going to affect the outcome by blocking Bobby Hamilton.
They're equally spread out. Steve Park comes out of turn 4. He will see the white flag. 2 miles of racing to go for Steve Park to claim his first win in the Truck Series.
Steve last pitted on lap number 58. Got great racing, 3 wide racing back there within the top 10.
That's a battle for 8th, 9th, and 10th.
That's Darrell's 2 trucks right there. Oh, Ruben sideways.
Big time loose.
Steve Park is going to hang on and win this race.
Coming into 3 and 4, Steve Park in the Jasper Engines and Transmissions, number 62.
That puts him in some elite company field, winning on all 3 of NASCAR's big stages. Steve Park is the latest winner of a truck race.
Comes to the checkered flag, and Steve Park will win the American Racing Wheels 200.
All right, that's fun stuff right there.
Great side-by-side battle right here. Todd Cleaver and Ted Musgrave side-by-side for the 4th position.
Johnny Benson looked as though he went across the start-finish line, may have blown a tire. Able to keep it straight, and they slow it down, but the celebration starts for the 62. Steve Park winning in the Craftsman Truck Series.
That's his truck owner, excuse me.
You think that guy on the outside of him was happy?
Bobby Hamilton holding on for second. Ricky Craven, a strong finish, comes back in third. Todd Cleaver, rookie Todd Cleaver, a great run. There's 2 Roush trucks back-to-back, 3rd and 4th.
Another top 5 for Ted Musgrave, and Matt Crafton finishes 6th. A great run for that 88 Chevrolet.
Jimmy Spencer finishing 7th. Ron Hornaday 8th unofficially. Robert Huffman and Dennis Setzer round out the top 10.
That was Steve's girlfriend, Jessica, there, celebrating the win. Had dinner with Steve and Jessica last night, and he told me his truck was right. He was going to be good. Golly, I just am so impressed with the job that team did. You know, last year, there were times when he showed speed enough to win, but they never could put a whole race together. Here we are in just the 2nd outing in 2005. They've already got to victory lane with that hot rod.
Yeah, Steve started back in the 25th position. I said, how's your truck? He said, regardless of how we qualified, we've got a great race truck. He said, maybe we had too much downforce to really get a good qualifying position, but he said, I'm going to like that in the race.
Steve Park, a fan favorite. He's going to celebrate his first win in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series.
He's got a plan. He's not got it implemented yet, but he's got a plan for what he's going to do. There's Jessica.
He wanted the checkered flag. They dropped it down to him. He wasn't able to catch it. It didn't actually go into the window net. And so confusion taking place for Steve Park, but no confusion in the fact that he was the fastest tonight.
He put him on it, didn't he?
American Racing Wheels 200 concludes with Steve Park winning. Coverage of the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series American Racing Wheels 200 on Speed Channel is brought to you by Craftsman, celebrating 10 years tough of the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. Let's go down to victory lane and rage on lap.
Well, folks, here comes Steve Park out of this Jasper Engines number 62. The thing about this guy is he gets to add his name to a very exclusive list of drivers who have won in all 3 of NASCAR's major series. I'll tell you what, buddy, what an incredible win that one day at Rockingham, but where does this one rank on your all-time list?
It ranks high up there. I mean, we came back from a lot of adversity, getting hurt and stuff like that, and we knew we could win races, and Mr. Gahn had the confidence in me to be able to do that. I just want to thank the whole entire team. Mike Bliss had a great truck. I don't know what happened to him right there at the end.
He ran out of fuel.
Yeah, we're a tight run with him, and we're catching him and losing him and catching him, but my hat's off to those guys that had a great truck. But how about this Jasper Dodge Ram? Is this Dodge Ram tough? I mean, if anything had a Hemi in it, this thing had a Hemi.
1 year ago, Steve, just about everything that could happen happened to you. You had the worst luck possible, but it looks like this year everything may have turned around already.
Yeah, it has, and I just want to thank the Orleans Hotel and Casino, Mr. Gahn, his whole family, Brendan, my whole team, Jasper Engines. I mean, just South Padre Island just came on board too. Just want to thank them too, Kevin Croyer, all the guys.
Here's a special guest to victory lane right here. No, wait a minute. You had to go down pit road. You got penalized there, but at least the yellow Jasper truck made it here.
Doug Ball and the Jasper folks get their first win with Steve Park. Who'd have figured, baby?
And that's Charlie Wilson right there, the crew chief, the whole deal. Steve Park is a winner in all 3 of NASCAR's major divisions.
All three.
Another first-time winner in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series, Steve Park, adding his name to that long, illustrious list. Speed Channel's coverage of the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series post-race show is presented by Craftsman. Let's go down to Wendy, who's caught up with second place, Bobby Hamilton.
What a day for Bobby Hamilton. You had temperatures pegged early in the race, went a lap down, got the lucky dog, and you finished second.
Yeah, I mean, this thing was a rocket ship. I'm just really proud of the guys on the Bailey's Dodge. And, you know, after Daytona last week, good week again for Bailey's. I think Casey finished 11th, and the other Bailey's Dodge. I think Chase had some trouble, but Lufkin again, good night for them. Clifty Farms, Dodge again, first and second 2 weeks in a row. It's just a pretty cool night.
What a way to start your 2005 season and give you momentum in the points.
Well, we're going to try to hold on to that no matter what the critics say, but we're just having fun right now. It's pretty cool. The guys worked their tails off on this thing, and they didn't panic when the thing run hot. We communicated well. I was glad for Steve and Michael Gahn, great bunch of people. Steve deserved that, so get ready for Atlanta.
With all the troubles Bobby Hamilton had tonight, he gladly takes home second place. Rick?
Look at the unofficial results. Steve Park, 3.5 years ago, had the accident that a lot thought would keep him out of racing. He's shown that they were wrong.
Roush had a great day. Ricky Craven in third, and rookie Todd Cleaver in fourth. What a terrific job he did his first time at California.
Robert Huffman, the highest finishing Toyota in DW's truck there. You can see Johnny Benson and Ruderman also. Good run for Casey Atwood, and Deborah Renshaw came back from the spin on the back straightaway to get a solid top 20 finish.
Rick Crawford in his 200th consecutive start, finishing up in 14th. Michael, did we talk about those numbers earlier?
We did.
Started 14th in the number 14.
You said
truck,
you usually finish 14th when all those numbers lined up like that.
That's not. I didn't know that it would all work out like that, but I'm sure Rick saw it a lot differently.
Steve Park started 25th. Was able to make his way up and claim his first NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series win. Popular driver in this series. Speed Channel's coverage of NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series post-race show is brought to you by Craftsman, celebrating 10 years tough of the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. Wendy Venturini's caught up with the Roush Racing teammates.
A great day for Roush Racing. I have Ricky Craven and Todd Cleaver coming home third and fourth. Ricky, tell us about your day. 2 top 5s in a row now.
It was really good. I was proud of the team. Qualifying wasn't so good, but, you know, we put all our emphasis on race runs, and it hurt us qualifying, but it certainly paid off tonight. And I was proud of the effort. The guys did a great job, and I'm still trying to figure the trucks out, but I'm having a great time.
Rookie Todd Cleaver came home fourth tonight. Todd, your first run at California. What do you think about this place now?
Man, it's a blast. Having so much fun. We unloaded the Shell Rotella T truck right off the trailer. It was really good, which makes my job so much easier as a rookie, never being here before. So just get to concentrate on driving the racetrack then. And you know, we stayed out and had some good pit strategy and got us up front. We, you know, come out of here with the top 5 finish, which I think will be good for the guys back in the shop. They're busting butt right now, working really hard, trying to make up for our Daytona disaster. And want to thank all them and thank my guys.
Now, is this a morale booster for you being the rookie coming off Daytona, and how disappointing it was for you with those wrecks?
Absolutely. You know, to run top 5 in our second night out, and we're pretty much all a new team, and you know, it's just really exciting. Daytona went, I don't think it could have went any worse for us, but obviously we came back strong and looking to hopefully have a really good season, and I'd like to make this a commonplace for us. So.
Roush Racing comes home 3-4 tonight in California. Let's check in with Ray Dunlap.
Well, Wendy, it's time to get to Craftsman Tool Tech right now, and I want to show you a couple of brand new wrenches that they've got out here. You'll notice that the front end of these wrenches is very different than our standard boxed end wrench. You see how it's turned here? And it's got a different kind of a bite. Well, why do they do that? This thing is really good for getting right on top of the bolt that you're trying to get to. Now, you'll notice if I put pressure going this way, that this is the point that hits the bolt. If I turn pressure back the other way, this is the point that hits the bolt. It keeps them completely from rounding off, and it's easy to turn. But what's really great about these wrenches is the fact that the arm is so long on these things, you get about 35% more leverage. So whenever you're working on something, you can really put a lot of muscle into it. And this part right here will never round off a bolt.
That is good to know, Ray Dunlap. Steve Park out of East Northport, New York, claiming his first victory in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series, joining 10 others that have won in all 3 series. Under the lights at California Speedway, Wendy's caught up with Ultra Motorsports team.
Ted Musgrave comes home 5th. Jimmy Spencer comes home 7th. They both were just discussing how they wish the race was a little bit longer. Jimmy, you had some problems with your truck at the end of the night, though.
Yeah, you know, right there when, you know, we all had pitted and, you know, the Team ASE Dodge guys, we had a good pit stop, but I guess somebody got in the wall and cut us all a lap down. And right then we stayed on the tail end of the lead lap, and right then I went into the corner and my truck just shut off. And then from that rest of the night on, it just started blubbering and missing. I'm like, Teddy, I think something happened in the needle in the seat or whatever, but we never gave up. We came back, got 7th, and rebounded from a lot of little mistakes that we can't let that keep happening.
All right, good run for you. And Ted, you got caught up. You had pit and you got caught up under that caution and a lap down. You made it back up.
Yeah, well, that's a product of nobody's fault. You know, lap 40 is our window. That's as much fuel as we can suck out of it. So same thing like Jimmy said. We pitted, and as soon as we left, the caution come out. But, yeah, I was quick enough, a half a second faster than leader to stay up front and get my lap back. But then we made a pit stop to our last stop, and lug nuts fell off when by that time I had to start in the tail end along this line. And, yeah, I got 5th out of it. But I'll tell you what, for California, what truck I had, you know, I'm disappointed with 5th because that thing should have won. But, hey, the Mopar team's on a roll. 2 top 5s. But like I say, California, I just wish we had another race here. Like I say, you know, we had the right setup. This truck's going to Atlanta. It's a heck of a truck. Look out, Atlanta. Here I come again.
Ted Musgrave, always good at California. We'll look for him in Atlanta. A good night for Ultra Motorsports. They come home 5th and 7th.
Make sure to tune in on Sunday. NASCAR This Morning and NASCAR Victory Lane has more of Jimmy Spencer. Steve Park doing the hat dance in Victory Lane. Take a look at the point standings after 2 races. Bobby Hamilton obviously has to be in front because he's got a 1st and a 2nd place finish so far this season.
Both Ricky Craven with 2 top 5s, Jimmy Spencer 2 top 10 finishes, and Ted Musgrave with 2 top 5 finishes so far in 2005.
You can see Bobby Hamilton's other truck, the 4 trucks, up to 10th in the points. So solid night for Bobby Hamilton Racing after what looked to be a suspect start. He certainly rebounded finally.
But how about that 16 truck, though, Jack Sprague? Jack started the truck, got out on the first caution flag. Mike Bliss drove that truck to the lead. Had it not been for a little pit strategy that went awry, he would have been in victory lane possibly and not Steve Park. But what a great job that Mike Bliss did in relief of Jack Sprague.
Todd Cleaver, another guy who did an excellent job today, coming off of such a difficult first race of the year at Daytona. And having a great finish here, finishing up in 4th. And a lot of things taking place tonight. There were only 5 cautions on the evening. One of those being one of the strongest trucks, the 75 of David Starr. The story was Steve Park winning his first ever NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series race.